The Browns did something. They re-signed 2 players, but also lost a starter. So we're going to talk about the 2 re-signings of Za'Darius Smith and Maurice Hurst, and then we'll talk about Anthony Walker leaving in free agency for his hometown Miami Dolphins. But let's start the video off by talking about Za'Darius Smith, as he got the most lucrative contract of all 3 players. It is a 2-year, $23.5 million contract. That comes out to a little under $12 million a season. I think my projection was a 2-year, $16 million, so definitely lowballed him a little bit. But the Browns, I think, do a good job here of bringing back a very key and dependable part of their pass rush last season. 27 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, but I don't think that tells the entire story of Za'Darius Smith last year. Pro Football Focus ranked him 16th out of 112 qualifying edge rushers, 60 pressures per PFF. That is a metric that Andrew Berry and company value very, very highly. So Za'Darius Smith returns. He'll team up with Myles Garrett again. It'll be a similar rotation with last year. Garrett, Smith, and Okoronkwo getting after the quarterback. I would say don't expect another big pass rushing addition, but then again, I think we all thought that last year. And then in May, Cleveland traded for Za'Darius Smith, although I feel like this time they're going to be much more comfortable with Garrett, Okoronkwo, Smith, and maybe Isaiah McGuire steps into a bigger role, or they go after a pass rusher with the 54th overall pick, although it's really tough to find good early pass rushers in round 2 of the draft. So, Za'Darius Smith, welcome back to Cleveland. I like this signing. I think Za'Darius was a great player last year for the Browns. He was constantly generating pressures. Yes, I know the sacks were not there, and you want to see ultimately these pass rushers get home, right? But I think if you are generating pressures, you are forcing the quarterback to get the ball out of their hands quickly, force a bad decision, whether that leads to an incomplete pass, an interception, whatever it may be. Za'Darius Smith was a focal point of this defense. It worked so well last year. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, Za'Darius back on a 2-year, $23.5 million contract. Not going to break the bank or anything like that. I'm sure the Browns, if things don't go well after year 1, could get out of it with not too many guarantees put in this contract. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel, by the way. We're trying to reach 34,000 subscribers. Now, Maurice Hurst also re-signed with the Browns on a 1-year deal worth up to $3.2 million. Throughout the entire offseason leading up to free agency, 2 guys that I kept peppering home to you to be very likely candidates to rejoin the team were Maurice Hurst and Za'Darius Smith. And Andrew Berry ultimately brings back the big belly-rubbing dude who everyone just loved in that locker room. Everyone raved about him. His personality was infectious. His leadership was present. And he joins the Browns yet again. Jordan Elliott and Shelby Harris, the other 2 defensive tackles, still free agents. To me, I think the Browns clearly had a priority at defensive tackle between these 3. It was Maurice Hurst, who you could argue was the best of all 3, and might actually be the cheapest of all 3. So from the pure value standpoint, I don't think the Browns were going to be interested in doing a bidding war for Jordan Elliott's services. However, Maurice Hurst, the way he fit in this Cleveland locker room last year, I'm sure the Browns were ecstatic to get him back. So now it is Myles Garrett, Dalvin Tomlinson, Za'Darius Smith, and Maurice Hurst, along with Siaka Ika in that defensive tackle rotation as things stand. Although with the draft coming up and other free agent targets, do not be surprised if the Browns look to add some more interior line help. But how would you grade the 2 re-signings, A, B, C, D, or F? I know it is no Christian Wilkins. And that was a big name that everyone kind of had their heart set on, myself included. But warned you guys, if you really bank on Christian Wilkins coming to Cleveland, you're going to get your hearts broken. He signed a 4-year, $110 million contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. So clearly the Browns went for a much cheaper option with Maurice Hurst. And I still like this signing a lot. I would give the Za'Darius Smith and Maurice signings an A minus, a B plus. I mean, I don't think these guys are going to come in here and completely revitalize, or it doesn't even need revitalization, but be the best at their position in free agency this year. But I think they're going to come in here and continue to do a great job like they did last season. Now, we're going to talk about Anthony Walker along with other free agency news and rumors. But first, I do have to shout out our sponsor today, which is Prize Picks. Get started with the best daily fantasy sports service in North America when you download Prize Picks and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Now, how does Prize Picks work? You pick 2 to 6 players and then choose more or less on their projected stats. So here are the selections I made for the NBA games tonight. Luka's on an all-time heater right now. Just take the more on anything related to Luka. I also like the more on Cade Cunningham as well. Now, if you're not a big NBA guy, they've got NHL on there as well. They've got every single sport under the sun. So download Prize Picks today. Use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Now, shifting gears from Za'Darius Smith and Maurice Hurst coming back, let's talk about Anthony Walker. He's going to go to the Miami Dolphins on a 1-year contract, and I don't think this was over the dollars and cents. I think he's going to sign a 1-year, if I had to guess, as I don't know the current figure at this present moment, $3 million contract. It's not going to be a lot of money. But ultimately, I think this was the Browns deciding to just move on from Anthony Walker. Not because he was a bad player for them. He was a captain, a leader on this defense. The Browns were better with him than without him. He was always sorely missed when he was missing time due to injuries. But ultimately, that's why the Browns are moving out from Anthony Walker. They just couldn't rely on him to play 17 games anymore. And if you are already going into the season feeling like you got to have a plan B behind Anthony Walker, then maybe you should change plan A. So something we have talked about on the channel before was let Anthony Walker likely go, probably bring back Taki, maybe move him to middle linebacker, and then you go draft a new outside linebacker like Jeremiah Trotter or Amari Cooper. There are plenty of good linebackers you can find in day 2 or early day 3 of the draft, and that's your starting linebacker combination. So, Taki, Anthony Walker, both free agents. Walker is off to Miami. No word yet on whether or not Cleveland will re-sign Taki. I kind of get the feel, the sense that they will look to bring him back. So they're not almost starting from scratch again at linebacker. When you look at the linebacker room, I've just tentatively got Tony Fields in at the starting spot. He's not going to be the starting middle linebacker, but I had to put a name and a picture there after Anthony Walker left in free agency. So I think you're going to see Taki shift over to middle linebacker if he re-signs. You're going to draft a replacement at strong side, and then after a year or two of Taki, if he's now wowing you with his middle linebacker presence, maybe you move that newly acquired, recently drafted linebacker over to the middle linebacker position. But Anthony Walker, happy trails, happy that he gets to go back to his hometown Miami, play for the Dolphins. Fingers crossed he's able to stay healthy out there in South Beach. I know I'm going to be pulling for his success. No bad will, no ill will, no hard feelings or anything like that. Ultimately, it's just another instance of injuries suck. And unfortunately, they got in the way of what was a potentially really nice run Anthony Walker would have had in Cleveland. So Walker back to the Dolphins. Maurice Hurst and Shelby Harris coming home to Cleveland for another season. A move that I am a fan of for the Cleveland Browns. So all 3 transactions here, the 2 re-signings, and then the 1 letting the player walk, I think was a good move for the Cleveland Browns as they get to bring back really good pieces from their defense last year and ultimately part ways with a member that was just too inconsistent. Now let's run through some of the other free agency news that happened throughout the day. If you're just getting off work and you're like, Petey, what the hell happened today? Let me try and catch up to speed because we had a lot of moves that went down. terms of re-signings and other veteran signings before free agency even really got underway today. We'll kind of sprint through some of these early ones here, and then we'll kind of catch up here. Jerry Jeudy yesterday or on Saturday to Cleveland. That was a big move. But Baker going to the Bucs, or staying with the Bucs, I should say, for a big 3-year contract. And then last night, Russell Wilson, 1-year deal. I am so excited, by the way, for how happy Steelers fans are for the value of Russell Wilson. And it's great value. Don't get me wrong. Like, pound for pound, it's an all-timer. But when Russell Wilson does suck again, because he did suck the last 2 seasons, is anyone in Pittsburgh going to be talking about, but at least we got great value for him? I don't think anyone's going to care about the value when you are 3-5. Let's get into DeAndre Swift, 3 years, $24 million. And then Tony Pollard got the exact same contract, 3 years, $24 million. Oh, sorry, we'll get that back on screen for you guys in just a second here. Tony Pollard got a 3-year, $24 million contract with the Tennessee Titans. So if the Browns were looking to spend big in NFL free agency at the running back position, it's not shaping up nicely for them. Oh, you okay there? Okay. Sorry, just some technical difficulties right now here. So, as I was saying, Swift and Tony Pollard getting 3-year, $24 million contracts does not shape nicely for the Browns trying to get an affordable running back. Aaron Jones was released. That's one name to watch for. Zach Moss was reportedly rumored to the Browns from Aaron Wilson. So there are some other running backs out there. But man, talk about a win for the running back market today, because Swift and Pollard set the bar high. I did not think it would cost $8 million a season for either player. So the fact that those guys went for $8 million, everyone, I feel like, just raised their price up because they know this draft class sucks at running back. So if the Browns are not willing to wait till April to find a back, they may have to pay a little bit more than what they were hoping for. Familiar name, Mack Wilson, going to the Arizona Cardinals. So those are some of the moves that have gone down today. Overall, positivity here about Za'Darius Smith and Maurice Hurst returning. I like both re-signings for Cleveland. Best of luck to Anthony Walker down in Miami. Now we will wrap up the show by picking a card. Producer Cullen Brown, rapid fire away.
I don't know. Feeling 9 of diamonds today.
9 of diamonds. For Anthony Walker being an absolute gem and switching his number for Deshaun Watson. One last time, let's go with 5 of clubs. What'd you say?
9 of diamonds.
9 of freaking diamonds. Congratulations.
Let's go!
Damn it. 9 of diamonds. All right. After all the deliberation you put into your pick each time, this time you just get it by just going off the first one you thought of. All right, we're going to sign off. We've got more free agency news and rumors coming at you all week long, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel.